Hope that you are well, and also hope that you are having an amazing day so far. So, today we will be doing our grade 5 English lesson on progressive verb tenses. So, we'll be doing our English grade 5 lesson on progressive verb tenses. And before we start with our lesson on progressive verb tenses, we're going to log into aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged into aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, then we're going to select the subject of language arts. Going to choose grade 5. And then we're going to scroll down to the chapter of progressive verb tenses. So we are doing the chapter of progressive verb tenses. The subject is English Language Arts, grade 5. And our lesson for today is to use the progressive verb tenses. So we're only going to focus on the lesson on using the progressive verb tenses. All right. So we're going to our very first lesson on using the progressive verb tenses. So progressive verb tenses, right? Let me make it a bit bigger. So progressive verb tenses, it describes ongoing action. It tells about something that is, was, or will be happening. And if you hear the word is, was, or will be happening, then it gives us the indication of is being present, was being in the past, and will be. It is the future tenses, right? So which means that will be happening, it must still happen, right? So that is what if we're talking about ongoing action, and specifically if you hear words like is, was, and will be happening. So if we hear already those three words, you must know it is either something that is gonna indicate that it happened already, it's happening now, or it will be happening, right? So when it comes to the present progressive tense, so the present progressive tense, right? So present meaning now, right? It's happening now, it's happening in the present. So present progressive tense, it tells about something that is happening right now, right? So it's happening right now. And when it comes to the present progressive tense and something happening right now, then we are using helping verbs such as is, am, or are. So is, am, or are. That is the helping words that we will be using if we use when we make mention of the present progressive tenses, right? And an example of the present progressive tense is John is playing football right now. So John is playing football right now. It shows that John is doing something right now. It's something that is happening right now, meaning that John is playing football right now. It's happening now, right? If we want to use the word are, right, and then we usually use are when we are referring to two or more people, right? So if we maybe want to say the boys, right? So John is playing football right now. Or if we were to say the boys, this is now more than one. So we can say the boys are. Remember, we say is when we're referring to one person. So John is playing football right now, and the boys are refers to more than one. And we can maybe say the boys are playing football right now. That was just an example to show that we use is to refer to one person, and we use are to refer to more than one person, right? So we can then say the boys are playing football right now. And if we want to say am, right, then we can maybe say I am um playing the piano right now. So that is how we use the words is, am, and are within the progressive verb tense, within the progressive tense, specifically in the present progressive tense. So in the present, we use is, am, and are in, for example, sentences like that. Like John is playing football right now, which refers to one person doing something. So we say John is singular, one person. If we want to make mention of more than one, then we use are in the present progressive tense. The boys are playing football right now. And if we want to make mention of am within the present progressive tense, then we can say I am playing the piano right now. All right. Then we have the past. Then we have the past progressive tense. So then we have the past progressive tense. And the past progressive tense, it tells about something that was happening in the past. It was happening in the past, right? It has passed, right? But it's ongoing that was happening in the past. So past tense, it's things that happened in the past, but past progressive tense, it tells us about something that was happening in the past. So ongoing actions that happened in the past. And when it comes to the past progressive tense, then we use helping verbs like was and were. So we use helping verbs like was and were to show ongoing action within the past, right? And an example of a past progressive tense is Sarah was talking to Mrs. Jansen when the phone rang. So was indicates that Sarah was talking to Mrs. Jansen. So was indicates that one person was talking, right? And if we were to say, let's say maybe more than one person was talking to Mrs. Jansen, and then we can say, um, let's maybe say Sarah and Beth. Then we say were, because were now refers to more than one person. So Sarah and Beth were talking to Mrs. Jansen when the phone rang, right? So when we use the past progressive tense, right, to show ongoing action that was happening in the past, then we use helping verbs like was and were. So we use helping verbs was and were, right? And an example is Sarah was talking to Mrs. Jansen when the phone rang. So it means that only one person was talking to Miss Jansen, and that is why we put the helping verb was there. But as soon as we want to make mention of more than one person that spoke to Mrs. Jensen, and then we say were. So even if we had to say the girls, meaning it's more than one girl, then we can say they were. So Sarah and Beth were talking to Mrs. Jansen when the phone rang. And this is in the past, right? This is in the past. And remember past progressive tenses? It shows the ongoing action or describes the ongoing actions that was happening in the past, right? So it's in the past tense, yes. Then we have future tense. So the future progressive tense, right? So now we have the future progressive tense, right? And the future progressive tense, they tell something that will be happening in the past. So will be happening in the future, sorry, within the future, right? So whenever we see will be, then we must know it is in the future because it must still happen, right? So it will happen, it will be happening. So the future progressive tense, it tells about something that will be happening in the future. It must still happen. And whenever we use the future progressive tense and then we use the helping verb will be, right? So we use the helping verb will be within our sentence to basically describe the ongoing action within the future. So we use will be, the helping verb will be, to show ongoing action or describe ongoing action that will be happening in the future. And an example is Luke will be visiting next May. So Luke will be visiting next May, which means that at the next May, probably next year, then Luke will only be visiting. So Luke will be visiting next May, right? And that shows the future progressive tense, which basically describes the ongoing action that will be happening in the future. And yes, progressive tenses are our present, our past, and our future tenses, right? So the progressive tense that describes ongoing action, it tells us about the past, it tells us about the present, and it tells us about the future. And when we make mention of will be, and then it is in the future. So yes, it's in the future. All right, so now we're gonna go to aplusstudents.ca. So we're going to aplusstudents.ca where we are going to continue with our tutorial lesson. Right? So we are by the chapter of progressive verb tenses, right? And we're going to only do the one lesson, which is to use the progressive verb tenses. All right. So we already described all of the past, the present, as well as the future tense, right? And just once again, we said that the progressive tense, it describes ongoing action, right? It tells about something that is, was, or will be happening. And remember, if something tells us that it is, was, or will be happening, then it means that it is telling us about the present, it's telling us about the past, and it's telling us about the future. So we are just going to have to know which verb to use, basically which helping verb to use when we use the specific tenses. So you need to know, do we use is for the future tense, or do we use was for the present tense, right? So you're going to have to know which tense to use, or let's say which helping verb to use for which specific tense. And remember, our tenses are present tense, past tense, future tense. And the past progressive tense, it tells us about something that is happening in the past, right? So the past progressive tense, it tells us about something that is happening in the past. And we use the helping verbs was to refer to one person that did something in the past, and were that refers to more than one person that did something in the past. And then we have our present progressive tense, and it tells us about something that is happening right now. And we use the helping verb is to show one person doing something. Am, it's like referring to I am doing something. And are referring to more than one person that is doing, or that's described as doing the ongoing action. And then we have the future progressive tenses. And the future progressive tenses, it tells us about something that will be happening in the future, right? It must still happen, whether it is tomorrow, whether it is next week, whether it is next month, whether it is next year. It is something that must still happen. It will be happening, right? And whenever we use helping verbs, we use the helping verbs will be to describe ongoing action happening in the future. All right. So now we are going to do an activity. We're going to have to complete the sentence with the correct helping verb. We need to complete the sentence with the correct helping verb. We're going to have to, let me make a little thing here. So we're going to have to put in the correct helping verb over here. I am wrapping up my last email now. So I should be ready to leave work in about 5 minutes. We need to complete the sentence with the correct helping verb. So I am wrapping up my last email now. So I should be ready to leave work in about 5 minutes. So before we complete the sentence with the correct helping verb, is this present tense? Is a sentence in the past, or is a sentence in the future tense? So the sentence, is it in the present, in the past, or in the future? So I am wrapping up my last email now. And especially if we look at the word now. Now is now telling us it is in the present, it is in the past, or it's in the future. All right, so if we were to choose firstly the correct tense, right, then we can say that this is happening in the present. So this is in the present, right? So if this is in the present, which is happening now, right, then we need to use the correct helping verb. The correct helping verbs within the present in the present is, we need to choose between these ones: is, am, are. We need to choose one of these three in order to complete our sentence. Do we say I is wrapping up my last email now, so I should be ready to leave work in about 5 minutes? Or do we say I am wrapping up my last email now, so I should be ready to leave work in 5 minutes? Or do we say I are wrapping up my last email now, so I should be ready to leave work in about 5 minutes? So which one is the correct one? So this is, the sentence is in the present, so well done. It is in the present, but now we need to choose the correct helping verb by choosing one of these three: is, am, or are, to complete our sentence. And there where I put the little thingy over there by the arrow, we need to put in the correct helping verb. I is, am, or are wrapping up my last email now, so I should be ready to leave work in about 5 minutes. So we choose the correct helping verb. All right, so if we are going to choose the correct helping verb within from these three, right, to complete our sentence, then we can say I am. So I'm going to circle the word am. Let me scratch out these ones because we're not using those ones, right? So I am wrapping up my last email now, so I should be ready to leave work in about 5 minutes, right? So I am, it also shows that it is the present. It is a present progressive tense. So I am. So if you said I am also, then that is correct. So well done. So am is the correct helping verb. All right. So we're going to have to complete the sentence with the correct helping verb or helping verbs. So at the moment, I will tell you where we are going to add the verbs, the helping verb. At the moment, we're going to add the helping verb over there. So at the moment, I am finishing my breakfast, but I will join you in a minute. Firstly, is this present, past, or future? At the moment. If somebody tells you at the moment, it doesn't mean that they are doing something now. They did something already, it's in the past, or they will be doing something. If somebody makes mention of at the moment, what does at the moment mean? Is it in the present, meaning it's now? Is it in the past? It happened already. Or it's in the future. It will be happening. So we are first going to choose the correct tense. All right, so if we are going to choose the correct tense, and then we are going to say firstly that this is happening in the present, right? It's happening now. Right? So if we say at the moment finishing my breakfast, but I'll join you in a minute. At the moment. At the moment means that this person is doing something now, right? So they're doing something now. So it is in the present. And if it's in the present, then we are going to have to choose one of these helping verbs. We're either going to use is, am, or are to complete our sentence. So, do we say at the moment I is finishing my breakfast, but I'll join you in a minute? Or do we say at the moment I am finishing my breakfast, but I'll join you in a minute? Or do we say at the moment I are finishing my breakfast, but I'll join you in a minute? So, which is the correct helping verb to complete our sentence? Is, am, are, which shows something that this person is doing in the present. Is, am, are. At the moment, I is, am, are finishing my breakfast, but I'll join you in a minute. Which one is the correct helping verb within that sentence? All right, so if we were to choose the correct one, then we will then say, we will choose I am. So we'll choose am and we eliminate is and are. So we then say, at the moment, I am finishing my breakfast, but I'll join you in a minute. So I am finishing my breakfast, which means that this is in the present. It is the present progressive tense that tells us that something is happening right now, right? And we use am as our helping verb to show that something is happening right now. And that is the present progressive tense. All right, so now we're going to the next one. We can't play baseball tomorrow because we need to put in we need to put something in we need to put in the correct helping verb over there, playing tennis. So we can't play baseball tomorrow because we playing tennis. So is this now the present, past, or is it showing the future progressive tense? We can't play baseball tomorrow. What does tomorrow tell us? Does tomorrow tell us that it is now? Does tomorrow tell us it's in the past? Or does tomorrow tell us it will be happening in the future? Tomorrow. So is this the present progressive tense, past progressive tense, or future progressive tense? All right, so if we choose the correct tense, then we will say this is the future progressive tense. So this is the future progressive tense, and it basically tells us that something will be happening. It will be happening, right? It must still happen. It will be happening. So now, if we look at our sentence, right, we can play baseball tomorrow because we playing tennis. What is the word that what is the helping verb that we need to put in that space in order to complete the sentence that shows that this is the future progressive tense? All right, so if we choose the correct helping verb, right, and then we will say that we can't play baseball tomorrow because we will be, right? So we use the word will be. We will be playing tennis, right? So will be is the helping verb that shows us or that tells us that it is happening or it will be happening in the future. So before we go on to our next activity, actually, before we go on to our test, right? So just to recap on the progressive tenses. So basically, just to recap before we go on to our test on the progressive tenses, the progressive tenses, it describes ongoing actions, right? It describes ongoing actions in the past, in the present, as well as in the future, right? And the present progressive tense, right? It tells us about something that is happening now, and we use the helping verbs such as is, was, no, we use is, am, or are, right? We use is, am, or are to show the present progressive tense. It shows us that something is happening right now. And then we have the past progressive tense that tells us about something that was happening in the past, and it uses the helping verbs, which is was or were, to show that something was happening in the past. And then we have the future progressive tense that tells us about something that will be happening in the future. Future can be tomorrow, can be next week, can be next month, can be next year, right? But it will basically tell us that it will be happening in the future. And that is our tenses, our progressive tenses, which describes ongoing action in the present, in the past, and in the future. So now we're going on to our test. And we are going to use the progressive verb tenses, right? So we need to complete the sentence with the correct helping verb. Seth, do we say Seth was paying for the tickets now, or Seth is paying for the tickets now? So we should be able to head into the concert soon. So if he's paying for the tickets now, do we say he was or he is paying for tickets now? So which helping verb shows that he is paying for tickets now? Do we say Seth was paying for tickets now, or Seth is paying for tickets now? So we should be able to head into the concert soon. All right, so if we choose the correct helping verb, then we will choose is, because is also shows the present. It's happening in the present. It's the present progressive tense. It is happening now, which means that Seth is paying for the tickets now, so we should be able to head into the concert soon. Was shows that it is in the past. During my art class later tonight. So during my art class later tonight. So later tonight is the words that we need to look at. Do we say I will be working on a sketch for my first oil painting? Or I was working on a sketch for my first oil painting. This is now for during my art class later tonight. So later tonight, I will be working on a sketch for my first oil painting, or I was working on a sketch for my first oil painting. Later tonight. Does that tell us it is in the present, in the past, or in the future? And if we choose the correct verb tense, or let's say the helping verb, and then we will say will be, and that's correct. It shows future, and the correct helping verb is will be. So during my art class later tonight, I will be working on a sketch for my first oil painting. And that is correct. So well done. The bonfire. Do we say the bonfire was blazing brightly now? Or the bonfire is blazing brightly now? But we'll need more wood if you want to keep it going all night. So which helping verb do we have to use? Do we say was blazing right now or is blazing right now? And is it showing the present? Is it showing the past? Or is it showing the future progressive tense? The bonfire blazing brightly now. If you look at the word now, does the word now tell us that it is in the present? Does it tell us it is in the past, it happened already, or in the future that it will still be happening? So yes, it is in the present and we are using is. So we can say the bonfire is blazing brightly now, but we'll need more wood if we want to keep it going all night. So well done. Yes, it is in the present and it is showing that it is happening now. So we say is. So we use is. And that is correct. So good job. Good job. So it is present and we do say is. The lawyers are working hard to prepare for the trial. Since it, do we say since it was starting in a few weeks or since it will be starting in a few weeks? So in a few weeks' time, right? Few weeks' time. Do we say it is in the present? It is now. Do we say few weeks' time is in the past? Or do we say few weeks is in the future? So do we use was or will be? Yes. So if we choose the correct helping verb, right, then we will say the lawyers are working hard to prepare for the trial since it will be starting in a few weeks because they are telling us about the future. Few weeks, meaning it must still happen. It will be happening, right? So we will say will be starting in a few weeks' time. So if you said will be and in the future, then that is correct. That is correct. Well done. And then Hannah stained her shirt when she was picking blackberries yesterday or will be picking blackberries yesterday. So if you look at the word yesterday, is yesterday something that happens now? Is yesterday things that happened in the past? Or is yesterday things that will be happening in the future? So Hannah stained her shirt when she was or will be picking blackberries yesterday. All right, so if we choose the correct one, yes, then we will say was, right? Because yesterday refers to something that happened already. So we can say Hannah stained her shirt when she was picking blackberries yesterday. So if you said was, then well done, because was shows the past tense. All right, so let's do our last one. We are all excited for class tomorrow because Mr. Morrison. So we are all excited for class tomorrow, because Mr. Morrison, do we say Mr. Morrison was demonstrating how a volcano erupts or will be demonstrating how a volcano erupts? This is now class for tomorrow. Tomorrow, does tomorrow show that it is happening now? Does tomorrow show that it happened in the past? Or does it show that it will be happening in the future? So we are all excited for class tomorrow because Mr. Morrison demonstrating how a volcano erupts. So Mr. Morrison was demonstrating how a volcano erupts, or he will be demonstrating how a volcano erupts. And are we showing, is this in the present, past, or in the future? All right, so if we choose the correct helping verb, then we will say will be. And that is correct. This shows the future. Right, so we will say we are all excited for class tomorrow because Mr. Morrison will be demonstrating how a volcano erupts, and will be is in the future. So that is correct because tomorrow gives us the indication that it is happening or it will be happening in the future. So well done if you selected future and you selected will be. So well done. Great job. All right, so that is our lesson on using the progressive verb tenses. And we said that the progressive verb tenses is your present progressive tense, it is your past progressive tense, as well as your future progressive tense that shows or describes ongoing action in the present, in the past, as well as in the future, right? And when it comes to the present progressive tense, then it shows ongoing action that is happening now. The past progressive tenses, it is showing ongoing action that happened in the past. And with future progressive tense, it is showing ongoing action that will be happening in the future. All right, so grade 5, that is now the end of our lesson on progressive verb tenses. Thank you very much for joining the class. Thank you for being interactive. And I really hope that you are going to have a good day further. Goodbye.